Shi, 274 August 17, 333, of Jia ethnicity, was a military strategist during the 16 Kingdoms period in China. He was the founding emperor of later Zhou, reigning from 319 to 333. The Jia people originally served as a slave army for the aristocracy of the Xiongnu tribe. Later, they became a separate branch of the Xiongnu and migrated from Central Asia to the Central Plains. The Jia people were tall, fair-skinned, with curly hair, high noses, and deep-set eyes, different from both the Xiongnu and Han Chinese, which led to their exclusion. They mostly worked as tenants for local landlords during the Jin dynasty, living in difficult circumstances as one of the lowest social classes among ethnic minorities. Shi was born into a family of a Jia chieftain in Shandong County, Bingzhou, a mixed settlement of nomadic people and Han people. His father, Shi Zuhezu, was known for his fierce and brutal nature, and many of his clan members kept their distance from him. Shi took over the supervision and governance of the clan in place of his father, earning the love and trust of the people. At the same time, Shi was liked by Han Chinese such as Guijing and Ning Chu, who believed that Shi had an extraordinary appearance, great aspirations, and limitless potential, so they often supported him financially. Shi was grateful for their kindness and worked hard as a result. The kind-heartedness of these two Han Chinese towards Shi, a young man from a different ethnic group, allowed him to see the beauty of human nature amid the hardships of life. Shi was robust and courageous, with a love for horseback riding and archery. When he was 14 years old, he once accompanied people from his hometown to Luoyang for trading. As they passed through the East Gate, Shi's spirited and resonant shouts caught the attention of the court official Wang Yan. He said to his attendants, "The young man from the ethnic minority we just encountered, judging from his appearance and voice, seems to have extraordinary aspirations. I fear he may become a disaster for the country." However, when the attendants turned around to look for him, Shi had already disappeared without a trace. Between the years 302 and 303, famine struck Shi's hometown of Bingzhou, leading to social unrest and causing a large number of hungry and impoverished people to flee and wander aimlessly. At this time, the unscrupulous local warlord Dong Zhuo's company, Ma Teng, took advantage of the situation to hunt down these helpless Hu people, a general term used by the Han Chinese for nomadic ethnic groups, selling them as slaves to other provinces to earn money for military expenses. The young and strong Shi caught the attention of local officials, who wanted to capture him and sell him off. Fortunately, Ning Chu intervened and hid Shi, saving him from this fate. Subsequently, Shi quietly escaped and planned to join a nearby army. On the way, Shi encountered Guijing and tearfully recounted his desperate situation of hunger and cold. Guijing sympathized deeply with his plight, sold off the goods he was carrying, bought food for Shi, and also gave him some clothes. Shi said to Guijing, "Bingzhou is currently experiencing a severe famine. We cannot continue to endure poverty like this. Many Hu people are suffering greatly from hunger. We should lure them to other provinces to seek food and seize the opportunity to sell them. This way, we earn money, and they no longer suffer from hunger. It's a win-win situation." Guijing agreed with Shi's idea. Just as Shi bid farewell to Guijing and continued on his way to join the military, he unfortunately encountered a group of officials who were capturing Hu people to sell them off. He was arrested and sent to prison along with other captured Hu people, to be sold to other provinces. Ironically, Shi had encouraged Guijing to engage in the business of selling Hu people, thinking it wouldn't backfire on him, but he himself was caught by the authorities and sold off. It was even more troublesome as Guijing had to plead with his fellow clan brother Guiyang and his nephew Guishi, who held positions in the military, to secretly protect Shi and prevent him from being severely beaten or insulted. Before long, Shi was sold as a slave to Shi Huan, a resident of Chiping in Shandong. Shi Huan was a friendly person who took a liking to the clever and hard-working Shi, and he freed him from his slave status. Shi Huan's home was adjacent to an imperial horse ranch, and he often interacted with the manager of the ranch, Ji Sang. Shi took the opportunity to use his skill in handling horses to get acquainted with Ji Sang, thus becoming good friends. Once, Shi was sublet by his master Shi Huan to work for a landlord in Wuan, a place outside his hometown. On the way to Wuhan, Shi Lu was once again captured by soldiers who trafficked people for a living. They tied him up and planned to take him to the market to sell. Fortunately, as they passed through the wilderness, a group of deer ran by, and the soldiers hastily mounted their horses to chase after them. Quick-witted Shi Lu managed to break free from his ropes and escaped by chance. By this time, Shi Lu was already in his 20s, and he gradually changed his attitude from the submissive and enduring demeanor he had during his youth in response to unjust treatment or unfortunate circumstances. From then on, Shi Lu began to gather talents and amass power. He organized 18 like-minded young men from various ethnic groups, known as the 18 Riders. They would steal horses from nearby imperial horse ranches and ride to distant places to plunder silk, jewels, and other treasures. Most of their gains were used to bribe Ji Sang. In the year 304, during the period known as the War of the Eight Princes within the Western Jin dynasty, various political factions of the Sima clan were engaged in a struggle for control of the central government. This struggle had expanded from the capital city of Luoyang to various regions across the country. Social order had collapsed, and the Central Plains were plagued by incessant warfare, natural disasters, and human suffering. Local warlords and minority ethnic regimes began to emerge in response to the chaos. When the Prince of Chengdu, Sima Ying, failed in his bid to seize control of the central government and was stripped of his right to inherit the throne, General Gongshi Fan under Sima Ying's command raised troops in Jizhou to support him. Shi Li's friend, Ji Sang, the manager of the imperial horse ranch under the Western Jin dynasty, led the herdsmen to join the rebellion. Shi Lu and his 18 riders also became involved. From then on, Shi Lu involuntarily transitioned from being a bandit leader who robbed homes to becoming a general on the battlefield, eventually establishing his own regime. Shi Li's initial battles did not go smoothly. The rebellion in Jizhou was quickly suppressed. The leader of the rebels, Gongshi Fan, was killed, and the remaining forces scattered like birds and beasts. Ji Sang and Shi Li's 18 riders fled back to the imperial horse ranch in Chiping, Shandong, to hide. Although this rebellion ended in failure, it did not deter or discourage these rebels of the Western Jin dynasty. On the contrary, their first experience in the struggle against the regime of Gongshi made them more united as an organization and more determined in their will to fight. Before long, Shi Lu was appointed by Ji Sang as his deputy. Shi Lu regarded Ji Sang as his mentor. Before meeting Ji Sang, Shi Lu not only couldn't write, but he didn't even have a name. Others only knew him as a Hu person, tall in stature, so they called him Big Hu. The name Shi Lu was given to him by Ji Sang. Therefore, Ji Sang was the third Han Chinese, after Guijing and Ming Chu, to have a significant influence on Shi Li's life. Under Ji Sang's command, Shi Lu led the 18 riders and the herdsmen from the horse ranch to raid government prisoners. He also recruited bandits from the mountains and other armed groups, forming his own force and leading them to obey Ji Sang's orders. In the year 307, Ji Sang proclaimed himself as the Grand General and raised troops under the pretext of avenging Sima Ying, aiming to kill Sima Yu and Sima Teng. He marched towards the strategic city of Yi. As Ji Sang's vanguard, Shi Lu repeatedly distinguished himself in battle, leading unstoppable offensives straight toward Yi. Sima Teng, the king of Dongyan, the same person who, during the earlier famine in Bingzhou, dispatched troops to capture and sell Hu people, and was the unscrupulous local warlord Dong Zhuo's company, Ma Teng, hastily fled but was killed by Ji Sang's general, Li Feng. Ji Sang and Shi Lu set fire to and burned down the Yi palace, killing over 10,000 civilians and soldiers in Yi, looting women and treasures before leaving. They crossed the Yellow River and headed straight to Yenzhou in Shandong, the stronghold of Sima Yu. This move shook the Western Jin court. Sima Teng's brother, the influential Eastern Sea Prince Sima Yu, was extremely frightened and sent renowned generals such as Gongshi and Wang Zan to lead troops to intercept them. Ji Sang and Shi Lu defeated the Jin army in Leilang City, Shandong, killing the inspector of Yuzhou, Shi Xian. They also defeated the 50,000-strong peasant armed group called the Beggar Army, which came to aid the Jin army. Furthermore, they engaged in a months-long standoff with the elite Jin army led by Gongshi between the counties of Pingyuan and Yangping, engaging in more than 30 major battles with varying outcomes. Later, Sima Yu led troops to reinforce Shi. The situation quickly turned against Ji Sang and Shi Lu, and they were finally defeated by Shi, with over 10,000 soldiers killed in battle. In desperation, they had to regroup their remaining forces and planned to seek refuge with the Han Prince Lu Yuan. However, as they retreated, they were intercepted by Jin forces again, and their entire army was annihilated. After Ji Sang and Shi Lu became separated during the escape, Ji Sang was later killed by Jin forces, while Shi Lu fled to Leping, Shaanxi. Despite the failure of this military campaign, Shi Lu's ability to confront the renowned general Shi greatly enhanced his reputation throughout the Central Plains.